Welcome to ProLife Live, the program run by the students where we bring the experts and they bring the answers to discuss all things pro-life.
Hi everyone, welcome. This is ProLife Live, the program run by the students where we bring the experts and they bring the answers. I'm Ep.2, I'm the host, and I'm joined by the wonderful Alina and Lucas for episode 2, Choosing Life. So how have you been? How's quarantine? How's everything working out for you two?
Oh gosh, quarantine has honestly been so hard since we're people that like to go out.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, it gives us a lot more quality family time to spend together. And, you know, I got to do this great opportunity and also get to see you again because I haven't seen you forever. And also spend more quality time with this little boy.
Oh, I bet you love that. You know, being next to him all the time.
Yeah.
So, we're just gonna get right into it. So you have a very interesting story. For people who don't know, which probably is everyone, we briefly knew each other through a mutual friend years back, and I just followed your Instagram for a while, and I basically followed your story from the day you shared his monogram. So tell everyone about your story, what happened, from then to now.
Okay. Well, obviously, I got pregnant at an unexpected age. If anybody doesn't know me, I'm Alina. I'm 20 years old, and Lucas is going to be 1 on May 31st. I wouldn't necessarily call my life interesting. Well, I guess it kind of is because he makes it interesting in a good way. Mm-hmm. But so I found out about Lucas when I was 18, and it was actually on the 1-year anniversary that my cousin had passed away from DIPG. And he was 11 years old at the time. So, and God kind of told me that it was a boy, which leads me to my next point of me being a Christian, full-fledged Christian. And I love it. And there's nothing I would trade for the world. I wouldn't change anything.
That's awesome. So, were you always pro-life, or was it kind of like a decision you had to make?
I was always pro-life. I kind of knew that from the beginning. Just the whole part of abortion, I just wasn't. This is little guy's nap time right now. But so I was always pro-life, and I knew it, and I just couldn't bring myself. Of course, when I first found out and I saw how angry my parents were with me, not gonna lie about that. They, the anger, and I was always the one to please and everything, and being daddy's little girl. You can only imagine how it finding out I was pregnant reacted on him. But so abortion, it did cross my mind, but I would never do it. It's just when you're going through the emotions, of when you first find out you're pregnant, especially at an age at that,
Yeah.
It's just oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. This was supposed to happen. Obviously, it was supposed to happen because he's brought me nothing but joy.
I love to do that. So you'd say the thought of abortion was more like a fear-driven.
It was fear-driven, right?
Gotcha. So you said your parents were, upset. Were they a support system after the fact that you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So my mom, when it first all initially went down, she had honestly told me, she's just leave, because she was scared of my dad finding out, because my dad actually went on a bike ride when she found out that I was pregnant, because I was eating a Subway sandwich. I know, cliche, you're not supposed to eat that when you're pregnant. But so she kind of looked at me, because she's just there's something else that you're not telling me, that the doctors, were because I had asked the doctors, please don't tell anybody at the point, because I was just terrified. But she just found out, because my mom knows me like the back of her hand. Yeah. And she was just okay, leave, out of, being upset and everything. And she's just leave. And I did, and I drove around, and I was just honestly just thinking, crying, shouting out to God, why me? Of course. It's just obviously the child has a purpose. Every child has a purpose. And they've just been my rock from this day out. They love him so much. He went swimming earlier. If y'all saw my photos, he went swimming earlier with Pop and everything. So,
I did see that.
Yeah. So it's just an amazing support system I have right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Always have.
That's awesome. So I'm gonna assume your family was also pro-life. Did they help influence that decision? Gotcha. What were the moments that you were scared, and what was racing through your mind at the lowest point? point?
The lowest point was because I was also very, very sick throughout my whole pregnancy. I was scared of the fact that I wouldn't make it because I'm also like I have a low immune system. So like just anything could take like a huge toll on my body.
Yeah.
And just like knowing that I was pregnant, I was scared like for my life even. But I was also scared obviously when I found out, and I was scared at birth because nobody like really thinks about birth until later on. But I just thought about it like early on, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to push a little guy out of me, all natural. That wasn't planned. I was actually,
you were all natural.
Yes, I was screaming for the epidural by like, not really screaming. Oh my gosh. I was like asking for the epidural by like 8 centimeters, but they're like, we can't give it to you. You're too far along. So I just had to go all natural, and I had to go through with it.
Wow, that's strong. That is, I can't even imagine that. Good for you. Wow. So when you were pregnant, were you still in college? Were you still doing school or work or something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So while I was doing college, I went all throughout. I just took less classes, even though I took like, you know, your full time, like 4 classes, but prior to that I was taking like 5 to 6. So I went down just about 2 classes. I was honestly so tired all the time.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
But I was able to do it because I had the good support system, and I had people pushing me, being like, you can get through this and everything, because I was doing some hardcore classes, mostly science classes, math, you name it. Like, I was just trying to knock them out of the park. But I was able to still do it, and I'm still in college now, and because of course the coronavirus, you know, everything's online, so it made it easier for me. But prior to that, I was also doing 2 online classes because it got a little bit too much of getting sick, and I did 2 in class and 2 online.
That's good then. Were you ever treated like unfairly by your professors or by fellow students, or just like in general?
Not really. I never really experienced like a professor or anybody because they fully understood. Obviously, you know, they could see my belly and everything. And if I would suddenly walk out of class, they knew why, because I had told them beforehand that I was always super sick. So they were just like, we get it. So that was amazing to have also their support in a way of just knowing that I was doing school, getting the classes done, and I needed to succeed in life and get through it.
Yeah. So we have a like a program called Pregnant on Campus Initiative. And it's basically like saying you can do college, you can do school while still being pregnant. Because that's like one of like the biggest like myths or biases. Like you can't do anything if you're pregnant. Your whole life has to come to a stop. So you think like obviously hearing that, you know, debunked. So you did it without you know, I wouldn't say without struggle, but you know, without that criticism or unfair treatment.
Yes.
Would you do that?
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Good. And like I said before, I followed you since you found out about him.
Yeah.
What led you to share your story online? Was it more just being, you know, already online, or did you have like another like push to share the story?
Okay, so obviously before I was pregnant, you know, I was like the, you know, the normal teenager posting things and whatever, and just living my life. And then after my cousin honestly passed away, and then finding out I was pregnant, like I just knew right away it was a boy. And I actually did the early gender reveal to find out. It was like an at-home test, but goodness, it was just, you know, amazing. Like honestly, like everything is falling into place, and like I just couldn't ask for anything else.
Yeah,
honestly.
That's awesome. And like I've personally enjoyed like I love seeing everything like from
it's also a good way to reach out to other moms as well. So I've had a few other like teenagers come to me, and they were just like, hi, I'm pregnant, I'm so scared, I don't know what to do. Sadly, there was one that I actually personally knew, and like from elementary school, and I was with her when she took the test because I bought her a test and everything, and it was positive. But her boyfriend had convinced her to get an abortion. It was like heartbreaking on my end because I was just like, obviously with hers too, because she cried into my chest realizing that Planned Parenthood actually told her that she was 10 weeks along, and they told her it was just a clump of tissue. They didn't they didn't let her see the ultrasound. They didn't let her see the heartbeat or anything. They just told her not to talk and that they're, you know, supportive and nice. And they're just like, yes, honey, we understand. We know what's best for you and everything. So she told me all this was happening. And I'm like, whoa, this really needs to stop.
Yeah. So they basically, Planned Parenthood just took away the whole facts of everything to make her feel better about.
Yes, feel better about the decision that she made.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's sad, but like you have found another, you know, system of support through you know, moms and moms to be.
Yes, for sure, 100%.
That's great. You know, that's great because, you know, there are people that don't have like solid support systems.
Right.
And like for you to like be part of one, that's amazing because it can be a game changer. Sure.
It can be a game changer. Yeah, I know for sure. Because like I said, I've had, you know, other teenagers come to me, and I made an abortion video on my YouTube account, and people were seeing, you know, that like the baby, even at 5 weeks, you know, is not just a clump of cells or, you know, tissues that everybody like says they are, you know. And I just went into depth about it, and I also shared my story on there because I wanted them to know you're not alone, even though you feel like maybe your parents will be upset at you. That's a huge possibility. Mine were with me, but then once they see that baby, everything changes. It's like a whole game changer.
You see it as a human, as a child.
Yes.
Awesome. What is your YouTube channel in case anyone wants to like go check it out after this?
Yeah. So my YouTube channel is Growing Up Alina. It's actually in my bio, and okay, what are you getting into?
So what's your life like now with balancing, you know, work and school and obviously Lucas when he's almost a year old?
Oh gosh. Okay. So honestly, nothing's really changed. If anything, I'm just able to work and I'm able to bring him with me, which is amazing, even with this coronavirus, because I am an essential worker. And I work with DoorDash, so I'm able to bring him with me and make money during this hard time. And balancing, I'm always home now, which is awesome. It's another big plus. But prior to the corona, I was, you know, still doing school online anyway. We would have like our days where we go to the mall or the park and everything, and, you know, just live life like we usually did even prior before I was pregnant. So nothing really changed.
Awesome. Well, that's good then. So you can keep it all, you know, smooth.
Yep. Smoothish with the child.
So what's like the hardest part about being mom, and do you think it would differ from being a teen mom?
Oh gosh. The only thing that I could say with being a teen mom, like prior to another mom, like there's no such thing as like a better mom than more one than the other, because even if you are a teen mom, you're just as good as the mom that became pregnant at 27 or 28, you know, as long as you love your child, that's honestly all that matters. But one thing that I would have to say it's harder with being a teen mom is actually, goodness, it's when those times when, you know, you still have to work and you guys are still young and like you have to find a way to fluctuate schedules. So prior to this, I would work nights and his dad would watch him while I was like working at night, and then he would work throughout the day, and we had to make it work like that, even though I'm pretty sure a lot of moms have to do that now as well. But it was just harder, you know, being younger and you're not fully established in a career yet and you're trying to work your way. But other than that, honestly, you can still do anything. You can still do it.
Yeah. Well, good, because you have like it's always really like refreshing to hear like you can do it, because what I hear like on stuff is, you know, you can do it. But it's just great to hear that like you have done so much with all that's on your plate. You make it seem so easy. Like you definitely, even if it is hard, you make it seem really like fun and easy.
Thank you.
So what's your favorite memory so far about being a mom, or like being with Lucas? What's your favorite memory?
Oh my goodness. My favorite memory with Lucas would have to be, I was actually at work and I had plenty of favorite memories, but the one that really stuck with me is, I swear, this kid at 4 to 5 months old, his dad was watching him. He sent me a recording and he said, "I love mama." I literally started bawling in the back of the job. I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, he said that, I'm not even there. But I'm so thankful his dad caught it on camera, because that I still have the video to this day, and it's just amazing. And I even watch it over and over sometimes because I'm like, you did say it.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
That is adorable. That is so cute. And how did you choose Lucas's name? Was there any like
Well, okay. So how I chose Lucas's name is because I am Italian, so I'm half Black and half Italian.
Mhm.
I just really loved the name Luca all throughout my life.
Mhm.
And Luca means bright, and he was the bright in the darkness with my cousin and everything.
Aw.
And he just brought so much joy into the family. So, and then his dad's name starts with an S, Sabian, so we just took Luca and it took the S and it turned into Lucas, so it just
Aw.
fit for us right away.
That's adorable. That's really creative. Were there any what are like the biggest misconceptions about the general pregnancy journey in your opinion? Like,
Oh gosh,
is anything overemphasized? Is anything like not emphasized?
oh gosh. So the biggest misconceptions would have to be obviously of, oh, I'm just gonna miscarry right away, because I had a lot of friends who were pregnant, but they were always scared of, they were gonna miscarry, and then that caused them to get the abortion, which happened with my other friend at the 10 weeks. So she's just like, oh, my mom had many miscarriages and everything. I even had one. That's like something like very personal with me, but I was like 5 weeks along when it happened. So that's like that's a huge misconception that every pregnancy you have, even if you think something's wrong with you and everything, everybody just goes and says, oh, I should just get an abortion anyway, and regardless, because I'm not going to be able to carry the baby anyway. Another misconception is with, postpartum. Like, postpartum is real. Like, I never experienced like depression ever in my life, but it was right after having the baby and everything. It was just where I would cry and everything, but I was so happy that he was here, but I would just cry because of just, missing my belly, just simple things. And I was just always down, but then I just like started looking up and realizing, no, I'm not going to let this overtake me, and not going to let it mislead me in anything at all, because there's been women that have struggled with it for like over 10 to 11 months, even after giving birth. Luckily mine was only minor. So it was just like, within the first few weeks, and then after that I was fine.
Yeah.
But, that's just another huge thing where everybody's just like, oh, it's going to be okay after you, like, give birth and everything, is the misconception of, like, realizing there is a journey ahead, where it's just like, you do gain that mom bod. I wouldn't change it for anything, but, it's like I miss my abs sometimes, but, it's for the better, because I brought a life into the world, the life that's going to, become, like, a teacher, lawyer, anything, anything he becomes, I'll be so proud of him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
I have my dog biting my feet right now. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So, were you ever bashed for being pro-life? Because I know you've always, like you said, you were always pro-life. Were you ever bashed for your beliefs about that? Or has anyone ever told you, oh, you should have just gotten an abortion instead, or anything of the sort?
Oh gosh, yes. So I've had multiple people come up to me and bash me over the Live Action page on Facebook. That's a huge abortion, like pro-life place, and you have the trolls that go on, and they just decide to. Because I had a woman actually tell me, because I was just like, you have the people that are just like, oh, God's gonna condemn you for your sin and everything. And that's not what a woman wants to hear when she's going through something.
Yeah.
You want to like bring them up and tell them about God, while telling them that, their baby's a blessing.
Yeah.
And even though they may not feel like it, that's the literal truth. Every child's a blessing, and your baby's there for a reason. What do you say, Alina?
Hi, Lucas. Hi. He's so confused.
Thank you.
Hi.
Oh, there he goes.
Adorable. Hi, buddy.
But so when it comes to being bashed, I was bashed for being pro-life, just like how people are bashed for being pro-choice. But with being pro-life and everything, you get more like hurtful things said to you. And especially because I was pregnant, everybody was like, there's majority of people telling me, oh, you're too young, you shouldn't have an abortion, you're not ready to become a parent if you still live at home, you shouldn't have a baby at all. And this is like the type of stuff people were feeding into people, and to these poor women who are looking for encouragement, but they're like getting the wrong encouragement.
Yeah, exactly. So you should be looking to be like empowered in your pregnancy, and people are just kind of, say, no, you don't. Your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a lot of people are going to talk about empowerment, empowerment to women, which I'm, 100%. But when it's on the wrong side, it's like, what's your actual meaning? We want women to feel empowered and, proud of their bodies and their pregnancies and what they're doing, what they're going to bring into the world. Because like, he's already like a joyous contribution to like probably everyone around you.
Yes.
So why, like, it just puzzles me why people would try and stop that from happening.
Yes, I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And I've actually had, because, with females and everything and the whole like feminism and stuff like that, I've had so many feminists be like, my body, my choice.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what's being screamed. But then I came back with it, and like I said, as nice as possible, I said, you want to scream my body, my choice, but you could possibly be terminating the next female of the next generation.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, if you really cared for females and their bodies, and you, are trying not to make the choice for another human being, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're possibly terminating the next female of the generation, and it's,
exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm
it's
like,
not like anti like feminist thing to, possibly, kill another female. So yeah, it just totally like debunks their whole purpose, if you will. So I definitely agree with that. And like, what I like another part to that is, if you have like, if you're possibly killing something, if you're possibly not, that's not a good weight to like, try and,
right. And let's say even
not in your favor if you're wrong about that. So
yes, exactly. And also, with that being said, it's like, how is a person charged with 2 counts of murder of a pregnant woman?
Exactly.
But then a woman walks in and she just has the abortion, and it's not looked at the same way.
Yeah.
Exactly. What's wrong with the world? It's just like, they need to realize, and they would say, oh, it's because the lady's choice. Yeah. Maybe, somebody got into the accident on accident, and it technically wasn't their choice, and they sadly took the life of a pregnant woman and her baby.
Exactly.
It's just like, who are we to say and like judge, and say like all this stuff, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, nothing makes sense when it comes to abortion at all.
I feel it's one of the most controversial topics in our generation alone. So that's why there's so many inconsistencies about, regarding laws, regarding general public opinions. It's just it's so touchy, if you will.
Absolutely.
They can't make up their mind whether they want to, reveal the truth or not.
Absolutely. I
100%. What's the truth, and how's that gonna affect you?
Right.
With that being said, did you ever consider adoption? Was that ever like a choice that you thought?
So for me, I would have to say no, because my family actually fosters and adopts, and we took in, let's see, a 3-day-old baby. He was our first foster. He's now 6 years old now, and he lives with us. And he's my little brother now. And then after that, 6 months later, another baby boy came in, and we adopted him as well. So they're literally only 6 months apart, or no, 3 months apart. Wow. And yeah. So with that being said, like, adoption didn't cross my mind at all, because I was like, God bless me with this baby for a reason. And kudos to the mom that do give their baby up for adoption, because they know that's the right option for them. It's like, for them to go and carry out the pregnancy like God intended, and just everybody intends, and give that baby up knowing they can have a better life. Those are the most strongest women that I've ever seen, because regardless that my baby brothers came into this world with drugs and everything, with their bio parents, they were still strong enough to carry that baby all the way to term. Because they could have automatically been like, oh no, I'm knocked up again, I'm going to go get an abortion. No. Even drug addicts are making the right decision to carry their babies, and even though the state may take them, they know they're getting a better life regardless.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, it's the best version of benefit of the doubt, if you will.
Yes.
Because they're so you said, they're very strong. They're one of the strongest people. To know that they're making a choice, whether they're uncertain about it or not, they're making a choice that they know is gonna be beneficial in the end. And to be strong enough mentally alone as well as physically is a big, feat. So
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with that. So you have a lot of, moms to be friends. Was there anyone that you helped ultimately choose life? They went through a similar issue and ultimately chose life. Do you have any of those? Like any of those friends?
So not necessarily. Everybody just knew I was pro-life, and they would just talk to me and everything about their pregnancy, and abortion never crossed any of their minds, which I'm like, thank God, except for my one friend. But I could luckily say I haven't yet. If God like places like more women in my heart where I have to talk to them and like coach them through, I would let them know that I'm always going to be there for them regardless of anything. Like I will drop what I'm doing and I'll be there for you. That's just the type of person I am. And I'm here. If that happens, it happens.
That's great to know, because you're not alone, sort of thing. That's the overall message. Like, even if you don't have like a immediate support system of friends and family, there's always going to be someone out there like you. Be that friend, that guide, the one holding your hand, making sure you're doing it. So I'm really glad you're that type of person, because it's just a wonderful personality to come across. So your boyfriend, he's still in the picture, correct?
Oh yeah.
Very involved? Yeah.
Very involved. So involved. He's working super hard, and he's actually going to be on his way here in the next hour, and we got to do the 6 feet distance and everything because he's still an essential worker and he's around people. But Lucas, I swear, it was like we went through like 3 weeks of not seeing each other. It was just over FaceTime, and I had turned on the television, and Lucas started bawling because he saw his daddy and he didn't get to see him and everything. So you can only imagine like how my boyfriend felt when he was in the video. Like he was just crying as well and called crying, saying he missed him and everything. Because we don't live together just yet. The plan is hopefully by the end of this year because of everything going on. To hopefully get our own place, even just an apartment. But I have a pony and a big dog, so it's kind of hard, to find someone to accommodate us without, breaking our pockets. But he's very involved. He is amazing. He's my rock. He was there in the delivery room. He was there afterwards and all after that, and even prior to. And if I wanted something, like I wanted frozen cappuccinos in the hospital, he would just go and leave us, even though he didn't want to leave our bedside, of course. But like he's just like, my woman just gave birth. I'm gonna get her whatever she wants. So
he sounds like a wonderful father, a great boyfriend. Like I'm so happy that like he was there like the entire time, and like it sounds like he was one of the biggest like factors and supporting throughout it all.
Yes, he really did. Yes.
So like really having that father figure / male like figure for yourself and for Lucas like made all the difference.
I would have to say yes, even though some women have to go through it alone and they have to play the mom and the dad figure. But ladies, you do not need a guy in your life. Even though I love mine dearly, I'm just saying you do not need a guy in your life, because that baby literally becomes your best friend. Okay, like I literally will sit on my bed and I'll talk to him, and like he'll just look at me, and he can't necessarily talk back, but I'm like, good talk, buddy. And like he's just my listening ear. Yeah, he's just my listening ear. So it's like you don't need a guy, all you need is your baby. And if you have the guy, that's a plus, but you can do it without him.
So I know we had like a little like list of questions, but what's the difference in the type of love you feel for something you created versus just anything else? So what's that type of like emotion you go through?
The emotion you go through is like, I love my family, but I've never felt the love that I felt for my son when he was first placed into my arms. So like my mom told me, she's like, growing up, once you have a kid, you'll realize and understand and everything, how much we love you and everything. And when that happened, like it's like so unconditional, even though you may mess up as a mom and you might have your days where it's just like you don't want to be a mom, But honestly, it's just like the most unconditional love that you'll feel for your child.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that, because I know eventually one day I want to be a mom, and I can't wait to experience that, that type of unique unconditional love you have for it, because it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's beautiful,
That's
and it's such like you have like the strongest bond, because
Yeah.
for one, you're growing the baby and everything, and then you have the women that say they aren't bonding with their baby, but then as soon as the baby's placed in their arms and they see, they're like, oh my gosh, this is what was inside of me this whole entire time.
Exactly.
And then like your whole world changes for the better.
I love that. So you would say, even if like a mom is struggling with the journey of pregnancy, do you think, the physical, like holding / seeing of their baby would, flip their mind, like just flip their opinion, like, I'm not really sure. And then they see them and it's like, your mind sort of thing.
Absolutely. I would 100% agree with that. And there's been cases, where the moms, are upset and they don't choose abortion and they're going to give their baby up for adoption. But when they see that baby, they're like, I can better myself for you. I turned 100 times like into the better person that I am today than I was prior to him and everything. And my life honestly was completely boring. I was just working, hanging out with friends, going to the beach, the mall, and everything. And then now I do that with an extra mini best friend on the side. And, as a mom, you get to see those milestones of like, he just learned to clap his hands and wave. So like, I'm like, so like happy and ecstatic that he waved to you when you waved high. So, everything just changes and it's for the better.
I love that. Is there anything that was like surprising to you that you learned, like not anything like major, but just like a small thingy that like was surprising to you about babies that you didn't know before that you learned now with Lucas? Like, I don't know when babies start clapping their hands, so like milestones a thing to learn about?
The milestones, like, because like I was like around babies ever since the age of 13, I was always like, ready and like just to become a mom whenever my time was. But I would have to say the milestones, what shocked me is that it's different for each baby. And I know a lot of people already might have known that, but me, like my child didn't break his first 2 teeth until he was like 8-9 months, and then there's other babies that have it by the time they're 3 to 4 months. So like regardless, is it like if you're experienced with a baby or if you're not experienced, you're still gonna learn something new regardless. So there's no like, oh no, I'm not like ready to be a mom, I don't know anything about babies. If I didn't foster, I would have not known anything about babies, and I would have learned. You learn because it's just mother nature. It's just, you learn those type of things, with becoming a mom. So women are just made that way. And his dad was so scared to change him. Like when we were in the hospital, I had to change him, no lie, probably for the first 3 months of his life. And then when he was big enough, he was just like, okay, I'll come in and everything, because he would break him. So.
Oh no. That's kind of like sweet if you think about it. He's like, oh, that's horrible. Do you think anyone's ever like actually ready to be a mom? Like, do you think anyone ever feels like 100% certain when they find out they're pregnant, like, I'm ready to be a mom? Or do you think there's going to be that moment of like,
there's going to be that moment. The moment of fear. Kudos to all the women that are just like, I'm ready to be a mom and everything. Because, there's some out there. But even with me and fostering prior to Lucas, I was terrified because I'm like, okay, all this responsibility is mine. Because I was just like, the older foster sister. Okay, that's weird. Why is it bugging here? So, it was just like, it's different when it's your own kid and everything. And like my siblings and everything, my parents were, the main caregivers. So when you become that like initial caregiver to like your first ever blessing, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified. No lie, I went online and I looked up some things like with like newborns and what to look out for. When Lucas was first born, he had swallowed his cholesterol, like not cholesterol, but I forgot the name for it already because it's been that long ago. But it's like the baby's first poop and everything when they come out. Meconium. And he had swallowed a little bit of it. I don't know how. but it
What
was
happened?
he had it in utero. I guess a bowel movement happened, and then he was like coughing it up with like afterbirth, and of course it terrified me as a new mom, and I'm like, what is that? You know, what's wrong with my baby? I've never seen that before. So you're never really truly like ready to become a mom. Like, at least I know I wasn't, but like a more percentage of me knew I was.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Like, yeah, and you at least, like, if anything, you had the ability in you to be a mom.
Yes.
But yeah. What was your family's and your boyfriend's reaction when Lucas was first born?
Oh gosh. Okay. So their reactions was, so in the hospital there's only supposed to be 2 people. So it was supposed to be my mom and my boyfriend. It turned out, because of how fast he came, and nobody, because like the nurse was like, oh, you don't know that you have to push yet and everything. I was just like, oh no, I feel something there, I need to push and everything.
Yeah.
So it was my mom, my boyfriend, my grandma, and my boyfriend's mom. Now, my mom and my boyfriend's mom aren't technically the greatest together. They used to be best friends.
Okay.
But when me and my boyfriend start dating and everything, stuff happens, and you know, they don't talk to each other anymore. So, but when Lucas was born, they were just like, everybody was crying, they were excited, and you know, it was just a beautiful moment for everybody.
Yeah, like a unifying, if you will.
Yes.
So, like, the only thing that matters is Lucas.
Yeah, the little one just like came out and everything, you know, and like he made life better literally from the moment he like popped right out. That was that. Everybody was just
That's
like,
how you know it's meant to be.
that's
like,
how you know it's meant to be. Every baby is meant to be regardless. But like for me and my family and his family, we're just like, oh my gosh.
Like, that's amazing to hear. That's amazing. So like, with all this all these like wonderful things, why do you think it's so hard for like women, especially in this like day and age, to choose life like confidently? Like, what do you think is the biggest issue?
The biggest issue is that people aren't as encouraging as they need to be. Like you said, like to empower a woman, you know, when she's going through her pregnancy, but instead they're tearing her down and making her feel like, oh, you're not going to be good enough. Oh, you know, because then with abortions, everybody always goes to like the incest, rape, and everything. Like, what if they were raped or incest and everything? Honestly, with me, like, I'm as pro-life as they come, but with incest, the baby's most likely not going to make it in utero because of, you know, all the health issues and everything, you know, from like, you know, a father raping the daughter. You know, it's something really hard to go through, but then you have those amazing strong women that go through that, and then they hold their baby, and the baby's stillborn. Most like majority of the babies are born stillborn. And then some of them live only a couple of months, but within those couple of months, they're like, this was a baby, God gave it to us, and you know, even though it wasn't in the way we like hoped or planned, you know, my mom's friend, she was raped and she carried the baby full term, and she has the most beautiful 5-year-old daughter. Most beautiful, most angelic, because it's not the rapist's baby, it's the mom's baby, you know. They planted the seed, sure, in the way it shouldn't have happened, but you know, she brought a beautiful life into the world, and that's what's wrong with today's society, is that they're looking too much into the badness of like what happens to the actual woman, like how like feminists will say, oh, well, this happened to our body, so you know, we got to get rid of what happened and everything. But then they're not really thinking, because then there's a lot of women who regret their abortion. Like, someone very dearly to me was forced and dragged by her father way back in like the early 60s 70s, and her father dragged her because he was in the World War II, and it was a month before she got married, and he made her have the abortion. He held her down. Yeah, really. So and it still haunts her 50 years later.
Oh, so, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Like, women who have the abortion and then they, you know, go home and do that extra research, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, because in the moments of like seeing those 2 lines and everything, you know, it's really like, whoa. And then for people, it's like, yay. And then for me, like, because I found out when I was actually in the hospital, I was just like, oh.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah. It's just like, are you sure that's my test? Like, no lie. Like, I was sitting there because something happened where I was playing at youth group and I got hurt. And I came home and I just wasn't feeling right. I'm like, okay, I need to go to the hospital. So, and I'm not the one to cry for pain either. But I was just like, no, something doesn't feel right. And I go and they do blood work. They take the urine sample and everything because, you know, it's standard procedure.
Yes.
As a woman. And all of a sudden the guy nurse walks in. He looks over at something because I saw a piece of paper in the test. And it said, oh, it's positive, and just walks out. That's it. And I couldn't get up because, you know, they had the IV in me and everything. And I'm like, okay, like, is there something wrong with my blood? Like, what is it? And I go, and then the two women come in, the doctor and the nurse, and they're like, we don't know how else to tell you, but you're pregnant. Congratulations. And, like, I sat there, no lie, with, like, the dumbest look on my face. I was just like, you sure? You sure? Are you sure? And it was so hard for me because my boyfriend and my dad were in the waiting room.
Really?
Yeah, so I had to keep a straight face when my dad walked in because I asked for them to come into the back and everything. And I had called my boyfriend in the waiting room, and I was just like, I'm pregnant, like, right? That's all I could say. I stuttered the words. I'm just like, I'm pregnant. And he says, what? And the next thing I know, the phone turns off.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I didn't know how he was gonna take that, but the nurse had actually, like, grabbed them and brought them into the back.
Yeah.
And plus, he was sitting right next to my dad, and my dad was asking, "Is she okay? What's going on?" It was just like,
so you told your boyfriend, and then had to wait.
Yeah, I had to wait. I was terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, like, is he gonna leave and everything? And then he was just like, of course, I'll never leave you for, like, you know, this is our baby. We're gonna get through this. And he was just my rock the whole time. So,
like, from the second he found out, like, he took responsibility. Like, he manned up, basically. Like, he, you know, took his role and he fulfilled it as being a wonderful boyfriend and father.
yes.
I love hearing that. And if more boys can turn into men and follow your boyfriend's footsteps, I think it would be a big difference. Instead of,
it'd be a big difference. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was I saying? Yeah, if more people took after, like, his example, it would be so much of a different story, I believe. Because we need more men like your boyfriend, for sure. So I'm really happy to have someone like him.
Yeah, because, you know, like, these guys nowadays, you know, they just, you know, want to have fun, and then they, like, find out the girl's pregnant, they're like, oh, I'll pay for the abortion. You know, there's, like, multiple guys that aren't, you know, man enough and everything, and, like, the woman is just like, well, I'm pregnant, what do I do now? And everything. And then they're like, okay, well, I'll slide the $500 for Planned Parenthood, or I'll, like, they don't want to take part in the child's life, and that's so upsetting, you know, to see that. And there needs to be more men where a boy turns into a man, where they take responsibility. Like, I 100% agree with you.
Exactly. We need more people to encourage their girlfriends or wives, even, instead of to keep the child, instead of encouraging them to take the drive down to a Planned Parenthood or for sure. So, how do you think society could better change, you know, their perspective in supporting and empowering women? What's, like, the biggest thing that society can do to flip tides?
To look past easy, look more into, you know, Planned Parenthood and what they stand for, because, as you know, they're, like, the top #1 abortion clinic. I actually, because I go to Palm Beach State College, and I was in my health class, and I actually had done a slideshow about abortion and how it's wrong. And the librarian, of course, she actually happened to be sitting in the room, and she was just like, okay, so is a miscarriage is an abortion because your body aborts the baby. I'm like, you're right about that. The body gets rid on its own, the baby. That's why it's called a miscarriage. An abortion is a procedure that is done by a physician and a doctor to remove the child from the mother's womb. So there's the word miscarriage and abortion have two different meanings.
Yeah, for sure.
Two different meanings, and people are, like, in today's society, are not doing enough research and seeing what's going on in behind closed doors, you know, like there's those videos. It's like, I believe if a woman, you know, is looking into getting an abortion, I would encourage her to look up the procedure, what they do.
Yeah.
Before even going to Planned Parenthood and saying I want an abortion just flat out. Like with this, you know, and today's society needs to switch their mindsets, like you said, where, you know, they need to, like, look into stuff, because, like, injecting a needle full of, like, saline and toxic into the baby's brain is, like, and it's a full-term baby that could live outside of the womb.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, if anything, if the woman wants, you could get induced, but give that baby up for adoption. You know, it's like, you're past the gestational age, like, where the baby can survive. Like, even if the baby's 24 to 25 weeks and you don't want to be pregnant anymore before you start showing, have that, like, baby and then give it up for adoption, you know? There's different ways than just ending the baby's life completely, you know? Because I didn't show with Lucas until I was probably 26 to 27 weeks.
Wow.
No lie. Like, I was like flat, and then like 20 weeks I started to get a little, like, where I looked chubby, but like you couldn't really tell I was pregnant just yet. And by the time 26, 27 weeks rolled around, which is the time that I could have, like, you know, had him and he would have been fine. Yeah. I started to look pregnant. So if women are afraid of looking pregnant, like right at that time, and they, you know, are scared about what people would think, it's like, just have the baby and give them up for adoption. There's a lot of doctors that I know personally that will rather you to do that than abort the baby. Yeah.
Exactly. So definitely, like, from what I hear, a lot of education on, you know, when life begins and what actually goes on in abortion. You know, inform yourself about what Planned Parenthood does, and then presenting the options instead of just saying it's either keeping the baby or killing it. You know, it's, you know, there's more. You know, you can keep it and raise it like you did with Lucas. You can keep it and put it up for adoption. You know, definitely more education. You know, presenting the options in a positive light. Yes, with that, I definitely agree with that. And if you could do it all over again, would you change anything?
I would not. When I tell you I was sick as a dog, I said I will do it all over again. By the time Lucas is 2 or 3, I will possibly be having another one. We will see. But I will do it all over again, just to have them 100 times over. Yeah. You know, because I would go through the birth 100 times over. I would be sick every single moment of the day 100 times over just to have him here. Because it's just like, the pregnancy journey, rough. The birth, even more rough. But but now, you know,
it was all worth it.
It was all worth it. He's literally the light of my life. Right? Yeah, look.
Hey, Lucas. Hi. Hi, handsome. Oh, he's waving. Hi. Oh my gosh. Cute. He's so cute. He's the cutest baby I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Hi, Lucas.
Oh, you're actually eating the box. What a mom fail.
Oh, wow. He's okay. And, you know, finally, I don't want to keep you too long, but what advice would you give to a woman who's struggling with whether or not to have an abortion? What encouragement would you give her? How would you go about with, like, putting your story as a testimonial to, you know, to her life?
Oh, gosh. Easy. I would let her know that she's not alone. Because, like, even me, when I was pregnant, I knew that's what I would want to hear, that I'm not alone. You know, because when you feel alone, that's when those deep thoughts, you know, happen. And, you agree? Oh, I see that piece of box on your tongue. Can I have it? Thank you. But, I would want her to know she's not alone, and that, you know, God's got her. She's got this. I would let her know and tell her even my story. Like, I have no problem sharing it, you know?
Yeah, like,
like, you know, like, hey. I would just let her know and share my story and let her know she's not alone and that if she needs somebody to talk to, I would tell her all of her options. Of course, other than abortion, of course.
Yeah.
But I would tell her about, like adoption, keeping the baby, having the baby earlier. She's scared of looking and showing that she's pregnant, and weigh out all her options. And I actually have, yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
So I actually have a organization that I go through where where there's like I can't financially afford a baby. That's another big one that a lot of women struggle with. I couldn't financially afford a baby, and even if the person if I had gotten out, I had family members I could run to. Even if it was a cousin or an aunt, regardless of anything, there's always going to be that person in your family, even if you haven't talked to them in years, that will be there for you.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I would say to her, because I would just go through everything with her and be like, hey, listen, I'm here if you need me. If you need something, ask me. I'll lead you in the right direction always. Yeah. And God even will lead you in the right direction always as well. It's just like my life didn't stop when I had a baby. It just got better.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And do you think, because there's oftentimes, a boyfriend involved that's either really uncertain, leave it to the girlfriend choice, or either pushes for an abortion. Do you think your boyfriend could do the same and give his advice and guidance to another couple? Like this is like
100% yes. I know he could definitely sit down and talk and be like, listen, man, I know it's scary and everything, but like it's a good thing, your child obviously, and you can do this. Like this is you growing into a man and everything, and he would be the same way. He'd be like, I'll be there for you, because our personalities are kind of the same when it comes to helping people. So I know he would definitely have that talk, like empower the guy, let him know, like, you're turning into a real man, you got this, because that's what every guy wants to hear. You know, you're a man and everything, and be there, and this is gonna be your little family, and you're not gonna want to trade it for anything. I know that's exactly 100% what he would say, because he tells me every single day.
That's awesome. Well, it was wonderful to have you, and trust me, this is like all the ways. Probably like one of the most anticipated lives that we have. So I'm so happy we got to talk to you. I'm so happy we got to see little Lucas. Hi. So yeah, you guys, I wish you guys the best. I hope you all stay safe during everything that's going on. And yeah, I'm really happy we got to talk.
I'm so happy too. It's just been like prolonged 2 months.
Oh yeah. Life happens. That's all good. I'm here now.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you. And have a great rest of your day. Stay safe during all of this.
You too, love. It was great seeing you.
Yeah, good to see you. All right.